Hello everyone, we're calling this my State of the Union address, and the state isn't very good. I had arthroscopic knee surgery last Monday. I think it's the 22nd of June here now, and I blew my knee in jiu-jitsu on June 3rd. 2 weeks prior to that I broke a finger, so this guy's crippled up and unable to do the things that we normally do on our channel. We had aims to have pigs this summer and rotate them across our land. I was going to build a gatehouse, finish my greenhouse, lots of different things that I was going to try to move forward on the property, and it looks like all of that's now at a standstill until this gets better, and I'm looking at months and months. So the channel's going to be tough to manage over the next while. I wanted to give a big thank you though to those who tune in and watch our videos, and to those who have subscribed to the channel. We're up to 360 subscribers there now, and that's really cool for Leo and I. We had started the channel just as a way to keep busy during COVID, and something for Leo to do when he was in the woods with me, that he could learn a little bit about filming and presentation skills. In terms of the projects themselves, to put it in context, what it is that we're trying to do over there, over time I would like to figure out a way to do some sustainable farming where we actually build healthy soil on our land that sustains myself, possibly my son, some animals, and that going into retirement I would have a very cheap way to live and sustain myself and have healthy food, and improve our forest. We're looking at just trying to pull together a lot of different things to improve the 30 acres that I have. And I'm hoping that as we work our systems out, just like permaculture and other systems that are available for people to look into, that we come up with some kind of viable way that people can subsistence farm and improve the health of the nature around them. Because I do not believe or hold hope that our leaders in this society are going to come up with these answers for us. I think, in fact, we're all quite aware with climate change and the state of toxins in our environment and degradation of topsoil and all the different issues that are going on around the globe right now, that global leadership is interested in greed and profit, and at the risk of driving us all over a cliff. So I think what we have to take it upon ourselves as citizens to do everything we can to try to fix what we see around us for the future generations. And also, when I look at my child and I think, if it comes to a point where he's facing a minimum wage job at a Walmart, you're working for minimum wage, you're coming home to your apartment that you can barely afford and barely put food on the table. There's a lot of people that live like this right now. I believe in America, most people couldn't put together $500 to $1,000 for an emergency. And so rather than living hand to mouth and working for soulless corporations like Walmart, I would rather my son come join me in my retirement years on our little farm and work at subsistence farming as something that gives him, some meaning as opposed to working those types of jobs. But now, that said, my son's a very smart little guy and very charismatic, and I suspect he's going to do well in life. If he becomes a doctor or, God help him, a lawyer, I will support him 100%. And I think he's going to do very well in life at whatever he pursues. But I want our land and the projects that we work on to be there as a fallback for him, and to be there for me when I retire, and to be there for future generations, that we have done something to improve at least one small corner of our land. We're going to have to redirect our efforts over the next little while, and you're probably going to see fewer videos come from us. We've wrapped up a couple small things that I had to get out there, for videos the last few weeks. but we're at a standstill with our projects. And I'm not sure what we're going to turn the channel to, but I am going to speak a little bit on things going on in current events. We just had a submersible sink in the ocean here, and thankfully it looks like now those 5 individuals died in a very quick manner. There was a chance that they were stuck in that submersible sitting next to the Titanic running out of air, and I think now it seems like likely it collapsed in on itself, and those people had a quick, merciful death. So I'm glad for that, but here the Titanic has claimed several more wealthy individuals. What is it, 100 and something years later, likely? I look at that situation and I think the money that they paid for those tickets on that death trap, and the money, the millions of dollars that it would have been to try to rescue those individuals, had that been donated to our local food bank here in town, that kind of money, we'd be feeding people for the next, I don't know how many years. So just another sort of symbol of, people's excess in our society, and very sadly it cost them their lives in this case. We also have a whole lot of news coming forward about aliens, which fascinates me. We're looking at decades of no information at all, very high secrecy. So now to have these leaks coming forward from U.S. air pilots and government officials, the latest I heard here was that we have a member of Parliament in Canada who wrote a letter to the Defense Minister in Canada identifying that we actually have a program between the Five Eyes, which would be Canada, the US, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, that we do have possession of alien technology and we have programs to try to reverse engineer this stuff. So that could be what's driving some of the technology in our society, which has obviously been increasing exponentially over the past bunch of years. But I find it very unusual that after so many years of secrecy that things are leaking out like crazy everywhere. And so I think it's something people have to be skeptical of, and what the motives are for our governments to be releasing this information at this time. The other thing that's coming to light is that COVID-19 very likely did come from a lab. There was a report from Michael Shellenberger, maybe, Matt Taibbi, who's a reporter I greatly respect, and a third reporter, and now most recently the Wall Street Journal has corroborated their report that patient 0 for COVID-19 was likely Ben Hu or 2 other scientists that all worked at the Wuhan lab, all worked on gain-of-function research on coronavirus. Very likely the work they were doing somehow escaped that lab and caused millions of deaths around the world. This was all kept under wraps over the last few years of COVID while we went through this. And it's just another indicator. People really need to be skeptical of what their media and their governments are telling them, because we are not getting the full picture on these things, just like I highly doubt we're getting the full picture on the conflict in Ukraine currently and where that may lead to World War III. God help us all. We don't want to go into a world war, especially with 2 great nuclear powers. And so we have to hope that common or better heads prevail. And people like myself, I'm very anti-war, although, I love combat sports. And, I'm a strong advocate for gun rights. I believe in that, and in people maintaining some power for themselves and independence. And I hope that we can negotiate some kind of settlement with Russia. Suffice it to say, there's more to these pictures than good guy versus bad guy, and we have many roles that these countries are playing and power dynamics, I think, again, largely rooted in greed, and we have to really be careful with how we interpret the news that we're receiving and the words from our own governments as to their motives and actions. So, with that in mind, thank you for watching. If people like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and you never know, I may get into more political talks, although all along so far with our channel, I've tried to avoid these topics. I am actually very politically engaged and I believe somewhat knowledgeable and certainly opinionated, but I don't like to bring that into a channel where we're simply trying to inspire people to go out and do good things with the nature around them. And anyway, we'll see where things go from here with the channel, but please be patient with us. I will eventually get healed up and I'll get back in business and working over there and doing what we've been doing for the past several years. But for the next, few months, unfortunately, things are going to be leveling off with our projects in the woods. We may try to do some reviews on the channel, but and we'll try, like I say, to maybe find other avenues that we can use to post some content to keep the channel alive and keep people interested in watching. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Cheers.